Okay, Mujib, if you're in, please.
Yeah, I am.
Oh, great, amazing. Yes, so just a quick introduction. I'm conscious of time, but I'm going to just quickly introduce Mujib. Mujib is an international legal scholar. He holds an LLM from Duke University School of Law, where he was awarded the Judy Horwitz Scholarship, a highly competitive, full tuition merit award recognizing outstanding academic excellence and leadership potential. Mujib earned his Bachelor of Laws degree with first class honors from the University of Ibadan, graduating in the top percentile of his class and receiving multiple institutional awards and national awards for his academic distinction. His experience navigating graduate admission, scholarship competitions, and elite academic environment involves in his contribution to discussion on applying to and funding master's program at Ivy League universities in the United States in particular. Guys, if you can, please give Mujib a warm welcome in the chat. And like I said earlier, Mujib will be, speaking to US applications and just applying to the US in this current climate and immigration challenges. So I know a lot of people have joined this session particularly for that. So Mujib, in a moment I'll share your slides, but please carry on.
Okay, thank you. Hi, everyone. I'll probably not spend up to 15 minutes because essentially everything I have here, people have already touched on them. So, uh, but I need the slides to proceed, please.
Yes, just reclaiming Austin permission. 1 second. Okay, are you able to give back the Austin permission? It's Oh yeah, no, I found it. Fine. Okay, there we go. Okay. Yeah, well, thank God. Right. Okay. Yeah.
Okay,
Floor
yeah.
is yours.
So thank you. So I'll be speaking on the A to Z of landing Ivy League scholarship and also touch on some US immigration issues. Next, please. Yeah. So two things, scholarship and immigration. Next, please. For scholarship, we'll be talking about things you have to look out for when applying for a scholarship. Well, I think the first thing you have to do is if you're coming to the US, the first thing you have to do is to decide if you want to do a direct PhD or you want to do your master's degree. Um, uh, Probably maybe we are not familiar with this, but usually in the US, especially if it's not maybe law related or um, arts or those fields like sciences, you can apply for a PhD directly without doing your master's. And this decision is very, very important because the funding for a PhD is really different from a master's PhD. And so this is the first thing you have to do is, deciding whether you want to join the pool for the master's degree, which is usually very, very difficult to get funding, or you want to go directly for a PhD program. Now, if you want to go directly for a PhD program without a master's degree, then that means you need to put in place some things because if you are not going to do a master's degree, there are some expectations that you have to show in your application. It's quite different if you have a master's degree, then you want to transition into the PhD program. Next, please. Okay, so the first thing you have to do if you want to get a scholarship for Ivy League school is you need to be informed. What does this mean? Now, you need to understand that the name does not necessarily mean you are going to get funding from the school. There are some schools that are traditionally, maybe because of their endowment policy, they really don't give much funding for some courses. For example, I know Cornell, which is an Ivy League school. I know UPenn, for law. They really don't have a lot of funding for LLMs, for example. And so if you are planning to, apply for an LLM program at either of these schools, you are is really, really going to be very difficult for you to get full funding. And so, if what you intend to get here is full funding, then you need to be informed about each school. So now you know Cornell, it's really difficult if you're going in for a Masters of Law program. It's really difficult for you to get funding. Now, there are some schools that they give funding, but they have different rules with respect to how you can get this funding. For example, NYU LLM program, they give some funding, but you still have to be informed about some things. Some schools, for example, Yale, for example, for the LLM program, they don't take much students. So they take about the class is about 25 students. And so if you want to go to Yale, for instance, you are more likely going to get funding for you than if you apply to NYU. But now the challenge is for NYU, they admit a lot of students and they have maybe, let's say, maybe about 20 full funding scholarship that they give, but the class is very, very huge. It's a very, very big class. For Yale, it's 25 students. So now the decision now is, do you want to be in the pool for Yale, which is really going to be more difficult to get considering the class size, or you want to go to NYU with a very, very big class and a bit of generosity? So the point here is you need to be informed. And I think the first speaker touched on this aspect. Some of these things are not something like 1+1 that I can sit people down and teach them that, oh, you need to do this, you need to do this. But for most of the information you need, I think the first step is for you to be familiar with the school website. For example, how did I know Yale doesn't take more than 25 students? I mean, I didn't bring this knowledge from heaven. No one told me about it. It's actually, the information is right there on the school website. So now, all these points are very, very important because they would go into the strategy in which you are going to be needing to apply for those schools. So if you are not informed, definitely you find yourself in a situation where you probably apply because of the name, and what happens eventually is you don't get the funding you are looking for. So once you get familiar with the information you need about these schools, then that would actually inform how you are going to tailor your applications, what you are going to be saying in your applications, and it will also inform how you structure your statements. Next slide, please. Next slide, please. Okay, so yeah, just like I mentioned, it's really, really important for you to be informed so you know what you are actually looking for. For instance, when I applied to Duke, I was very specific about the scholarship I wanted. And when I got in, and the scholarship I got is actually one that is just one of such scholarship that is available in the year. And so it's really competitive. And so when I came in and I was discussing with the admission guys, and they said one of the things that stood out for me was the fact that when I was applying for the scholarship, I mentioned the scholarship. I told them what I'm looking for. I didn't write like, oh, I'm poor, or the school is expensive. Can you give me this scholarship? No, I was really, really direct. Like, I want this particular scholarship. And I think they told me, the officer told me that it was really, really an important factor that they considered in awarding me the scholarship. And so this is where information is very, very important for you. Like you have the full picture of the school, the scholarship that is available, and you target the specific scholarship. Next slide, please. Okay, so the second tip that you need is you need to network. And I'm sure this can be like a culture shock for you if you are still in maybe your respective country, you've never been to the US. The US system really runs on relationships, and you can actually gain a lot. Now, I'm going to be citing two examples. When Faith was talking, he spoke about networking private individuals. Now, the benefits that you get through networking is not only at the level of the schools that you are trying to apply to, but even at the level in Nigeria. For example, for me, when I applied to Duke, the tuition then was about 71,000 US dollars. And the first time the school reached out to me, they awarded me 50,000 US dollars. And so then I was still needing around 21,000 US dollars. And so this networking came in handy because I spoke with a friend, and the friend told me, like, oh, there is this guy, is really not popular like that, but that there's this guy, I've heard about him, he's really generous, maybe you can reach out to him and something like that. And I said, okay, fine, let me give it a try. And I sent a message to this man, and he responded within 5 minutes. I just told him that I got this admission. I've been awarded 50,000 US dollars. I still need 21,000 US dollars to complete my tuition. And I mean, I don't know if it can help. And this man responded under 5 minutes and said, okay, don't worry, no problem. Let's see what happens by next week. And in my mind, I'm like, just like that, 21,000 US dollars. And a few hours later, I got another email from Duke saying, oh, they reconsidered the decision and now they're awarding me the full funding. But now, if I had not gotten the full funding from Duke, this person was actually willing to assist. And so, networking, even from the level, like when you are still in Nigeria, can really, really, make you achieve what you want to achieve if you are unable to get all the funding that you need at the US level. Now, at the US level, networking is also very, very important because here in the US, you reach out to people speak on your behalf. Like there are so many things that go underground, like that you may not be aware of. So, for example, if you really want to get funding, one way, especially if you want to do a direct PhD or you want to do a PhD program in the US, one thing you can do is you need to reach out early to the professors. You need to let them know, introduce yourself, package yourself very well, let them know, write something compelling, let them know, introduce what you've done, how their work has inspired you, how what you want to do fits into what they are doing. And also, you need to be aware that in the US, most of the funding are at the departmental level, not even at the university level. So you need to go online, check the specific departments you want to apply to, and understand the kind of funding they have. And so this would really go a long way in getting funding. And also another personal experience is when I was at Duke, I worked with one of the centers, one of the professors there, and it really I enjoyed working with him, and he actually also enjoyed working with me. And so recently, someone from Nigeria, although the person has a green card, got um, into Duke. And now they're having issues with their funding. And this person reached out to me and she was like, oh, this is the problem. And I said, okay, fine, no problem. While Duke might not give you the kind of funding that you want, but at least I can maybe, assist you. And The next thing I did was I sent an email to the professor introducing this person. And on the spot, the professor responded that that's fine, that he's going to hire this person. This person doesn't have to, go through the process of submitting application, entering the application pool and all that. And with that, she could get something that she would use to, support herself during the program. So networking is very, very important. You have your LinkedIn, you have get people's email. Don't be afraid. I know it's really, we might not be used to it, especially if you are not in the US, but trust me, this is something you have to get used to when you come to the US. You reach out to people and just think about it this way: like, what is the highest thing they would say? Is to say no, fine, and you move on. And trust me, most of us that we are talking here today, we've done it in the past, and it's not always like you are going to get a yes every time, but you just have to move on to the next thing. So, next slide, please. I'm reclaiming my time, please. Next slide.
Yeah, no, one second, Mujib. You should have it now.
Okay. So just to summarize what you need to get funding, one is you need to make your research, be informed about what you are looking for. You need to get strong recommenders. Now, on this, I don't think anybody has really delved into this in details, but recommendation letters are very, very important. When you're looking out for recommenders, you want to get in touch with people who can write something well for you, like people who are motivated. Now, here, this is not a place where someone would submit one paragraph recommendation letter or something like the boy is good, the boy is brilliant. No, that's not the kind of recommendation letter that you want on the application. You need something, you need someone who is able to say that you are good and they are able to match the reason why they are claiming that you are good with specific examples. And also, yeah, people have spoken about your statement. I'm not going to waste time on that. People have spoken about your CV, your achievement, and yeah, so you have to, probably share this slide so you can read more on some of these things. Next slide, please. So I don't know how many minutes do I have left? Say, how many minutes do I have? Okay,
Mujib, sorry, you have about 2 minutes left.
okay,
Yeah, I
sorry.
sent you a message. No, it's fine. It's fine.
Okay, all right, all right. Okay, so for the immigration, yeah, next slide, please. Yeah, so well, we know currently there is this ban that is in place. Although uh, on paper, you may still go ahead and apply for your F1. They'll take in the application, they'll take in the money, but what eventually happens is not something anyone can guarantee. The proclamation that was released earlier in the year placed a partial ban for Nigerians, and the implication of that ban is that they may still grant you the visa, but it is, I mean, it has always been discretionary, but I mean, now there is an executive order that they're working with. And so on paper, yes, you may still get it, but in practice, is not something that people are getting US visa, F1 visa to come and study. But notwithstanding, the executive order, I think, was set about 6 months, which would expire maybe at the end of this month. So maybe at the end of this month, there would be like a review of the whole thing, and probably maybe then they can remove Nigeria or some other countries from the list. So, but while we are still waiting for that, I also want to mention 2 or 3 things that you should be aware of. I know some of you are probably maybe undergrad, maybe 100 level, 200 level, and maybe in the next 2, 3 years, there won't be current ban. But some of the things that you want to take note of at this time is your social media. You now they are really particular about some of these things, and you want to be. I mean, no one is saying you shouldn't go public, you shouldn't post things online, but you need to understand the political landscape here in the United States. You need to understand what who the US considers as an ally, and the kind of opinion that you express online really it goes a very long way if you want to come into the US ultimately. And the last thing is, except this also changes, which we don't know. The visa they issue now is for 3 months. Before, it used to be for something we call DS, duration of studies. So, for example, if you are coming in for a master's program, it used to be for 2 years. The first year will be for your master's degree, then the second year would be for you to do something called OPT, optional practical training, where you can work in your field for a period of 1 year. But now the visa they are issuing is for 3 months, which means once you enter the US, you cannot travel again. But I mean, these are tentative things. These are what is currently happening now. We don't know what would ultimately happen when you eventually decide to apply. But I just thought to bring this to your attention. Next slide, please. Yeah, next one. I think I've mentioned this. Okay, I've also spoken about the social media. Yeah. So yeah, to conclude, yes, applying to Ivy League schools, getting scholarship, you need to be informed, you need to understand what funding is available for each program. Then you also need to network, you need to reach out to professors, you need to reach out to people, Nigerians or your mentors, people that you can see their profile online, people who are doing well. You can, I mean, it does not really even necessarily have to do with funding at that moment, at that particular time when you network with people. Don't try and reach out to people when you are pressed for their help. Just try and build your relationship now. If you are still an undergrad, try and build your relationship now with people. And then when you ultimately want to, go for it, then you have these people then also tailor your application. You apply early. You need to tailor your application. Don't submit broad applications that you submit to a program for another program. You need to tailor your specific applications to the specific funding that you want. Yeah, that's it. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mujib. I again, your session has so much in it, and you've tried to do it in 15 minutes. So I really appreciate that, and all of the insights on U.S. immigration and how the climate currently stands. I think that's very useful information, and I frankly didn't know that it wasn't like a complete or an absolute ban. Just means the likelihood of getting it has reduced significantly. So thanks for that. The final session just before the Q&A is by Abdurrashid Jaudola, and I